Hi everyone, it's Killshot from 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 11, Hidden Clues. This week's Hidden Clues much different than in previous episodes. Before, it was blatantly obvious items or also Easter eggs. Well, this week it was about time shifts, future deaths, and mainly Eugene and Dwight's character. I do have to warn you, this will contain prediction spoilers and clues. If that's not your thing, turn away. If it is, your comments, your participation is greatly appreciated. Let's start out with some of the time clues. So in one of the live streams, people kept asking, what is the deal with Joey's sandwich? Joey's sandwich was a real clever prop used by the writers in order to take us back in time. Keep in mind, we got multiple groups happening here. Rick's group is a little bit ahead of the game. They've already met the scavengers. Father Gabriel's been kidnapped, and now we got to get Negan's group up there. So the sandwich is still fresh. Dwight was over the body. When Dwight finds it, he runs in. Negan gets there with Eugene, and about the same time, Daryl is on his way up to Hilltop. Rick meets Daryl on Hilltop, and then Dwighty boy gets a night in the hole. He was there for one night. The reason that's important is Rick's group actually spent the night at the Kingdoms. Now, Rick's group at this point is at the Rock in the Road where the dynamite was there, and they got the RPGs, and we heard Negan over the walkie-talkie talking about Fat Joey. But in this episode, they talk about sending Simon over to take a peek, sort of good cop this thing. So Simon's just getting ready to leave, and that gets us called up. So those props are really instrumental in getting us to the right time frame. So let's talk about a few future deaths. So when Eugene arrived, he's got the bag over the head, and then they pulled it off. Keep that in mind. It happened in the comics with Holly. It's sort of getting us sensitive toward the situation. We think toward the end of the season or early next season, it's probably going to be used on Sasha, so everybody should be well aware of that. And also, as Dwight drives away, we see the fresh pool of blood once again with Fat Joey, so we know it just happened. But also, we see a little bit of Dwight's reflection in the blood. Could that be foreshadowing? In this scene here, where Dr. Carson went into the furnace, Tanya decided to walk away, and you don't walk away from Negan's events. That is definitely going to bring death upon you very soon. So let's transition and talk about Eugene and then Dwight. Eugene's intentions are so mixed throughout this. When Eugene first got there, he's in tears. So we get cowardly Eugene. Once again, they open up the door, and then those alligator tears just dry up. But Eugene seems to be on board with everything, but he saw someone stealing. So Eugene had told him, if I knew where Daryl was, I'd tell you. Later on, he says, I've always been Negan, but for some reason, he doesn't report a thief. Eugene gets intimidated by Negan a little bit. He talks about all his criteria, all his credentials, and then he just made peace with Negan. Or did he get over on Negan? We saw this little bit of a smirk. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Let's fast forward to Dr. Carson's death once again. Eugene covered his face, so went back to coward. We've seen this before. This is the aftermath of the Glenn and Abraham beatdown. Eugene could not bear to watch, but later on, after he made the pills, the two ladies, Frankie and Tanya, says to Eugene, you're a coward. And at that point, something seems to sink in. He accepts it. He says, you're absolutely right, I'm a coward. And then we see confident Dr. Smarty Pants right at the very end shouting out orders when he meets with Dwight. So let's transition and talk about Dwight. Dwight, very similar to Eugene. The first part of the episode, Dwight stays true to character. He professes that he's still Negan, goes to the doctor, sort of feeling the doctor out a little bit, and reaches in and takes the dum-dums. And I think that's pretty important because Dwight is in the habit of taking just because he can. But then something happens. He goes into his room. He has a secret hiding place. And then we see the cigarette pack. And the cigarette pack, I think, is very symbolic. You can see the lipstick on the cigarette. More than likely, that was one that Sherry actually threw down. Dwight took it as a souvenir. So he does have obvious feelings. And I think at that point, you knew what Dwight's intentions were. But Dwight drives, he gets to the house, picks up the broken pitcher, and actually sets it up nice and neat there. And then they transition a little bit forward. Just for the audience, they want to show that the G and the G was the same. But at this point, the audience still doesn't know what would Dwight do if he found Sherry or Honey there. And we find the ring there. So the ring is symbolic of the divorce that happens. And then it all hits Dwight at one time. So if you're not convinced at this point he has feelings for Sherry, but what he did throughout the whole last 3 or 4 episodes is he hid it from Sherry to make it easier for her to live with Negan. We find out a little bit later on, he pours out, he's had his ring hidden there the whole time. More than likely took it off so she didn't have to see it to think there was still a chance. And then, of course, Dwight pulled out the beer and the pretzels, which showed his true intentions were to get there with Sherry and to take off and not even go back. But once that happens and he read the letter where she said, I hope you find yourself, I hope you get away, we get a brand new Dwight. And I want you to take a look at this stone cold face the rest of the time. Now, he looks like he's just in a daze, but at this point, I think he's actually looking to break down Negan's operation from the inside. Dr. Carson said, we're not allowed to have big hearts. Right after he said that, Dwight set him up and framed him. He had to have somebody take the fall so Sherry can continue living. We find out he still got the dum-dums, never ate them. Perhaps the message here is don't continue to take if you don't need the stuff, and that's been Dwight's job for Negan. He's the collector. He goes around and just gets all these items. Or Dwight's starting to transition. We see that blank stare with Dwight when Dr. Carson got thrown into the fire. We thought Dwight was just a cold-hearted, ruthless killer. We find out Dwight is just excellent hiding his emotions. Negan says, I'm going to miss Sherry. Dwight says, I'm not. We'll talk about Dwight and Eugene in just a second. Let's talk about the pills. Why did Eugene even make the pills? So first of all, I think he wants to go in and see if he can get away with signing it. But keep in mind, Negan is going to audit these books, so it's going to come back on Eugene. When he first got the cold pills, he put them in his upper pocket. He looked around like he was sneaking around in order to do it. He ended up taking all the stuff back to his place. There were a couple keys from that. Take a look at the peaches. The peach pits actually have cyanide. Eugene took a lot of cold capsules, so he did make 2. We saw him in the little baggie, but I think he had enough to make more than that. So is Eugene still on Team Rick? Is he on Team Negan? Is he going to use these pills at some point? Leave your thoughts and comments below, but let's also talk about the face-off. The last scene was really, really epic, where Eugene, he has a little animal in his pocket. He's barking out orders. He looks like he's just possessed, and he's 100% on board, but I think these guys are trying to see where each other stands. Dwight looks at Eugene and basically says, yeah, after Eugene says we are Negan. So Dwight's seeing where Eugene stands. Eugene might be seeing where Dwight stands. I need your thoughts and comments. Let me know, do you think Eugene is actually drinking the Kool-Aid? Is he 100% Negan? Dwight looks like he's looking for a way out, and he's looking for a way to sort of poison the operation from the inside. Love to see what you guys think. This is The Walking Dead, Episode 11, Hidden Clues. My name's Killshot. Give this video a thumbs up, and I look forward to your thoughts and comments below. Peace.